Okay, in this video we're going to construct an isosceles triangle given a base and an altitude. So we'll need a compass, a ruler, and a pencil to do that. The first step is to create the base and altitude, which are given to us. So we can choose any length we'd like, but we need a segment. Just make it about that big for the base. And then I'll make the altitude a separate line, and I'll make it about that big. Doesn't matter how long it is, because it could be any length. Now I'm going to add points to the ends of these two segments I made, and I'll label them. I'll label the base and points A and B, then C and D for the altitude. And I'll label these segments just so I don't forget which is which. So now I have my two segments, the base and altitude, and I'll grab the compass tool to measure the length of my base. I'll set the compass to that length. Let's see, it looks about right. And I'll add my first point. This first point will be one of the vertices of our triangle. Doesn't matter where I put it. I'll add it about there, and I'll label this point E. Using the compass, I'll center it on my point E. I'm going to add an arc, extends from point E. Now any point I add on this arc will be the same length as the base. So I'll choose this point right about there. I'm going to label this point F. And then using my ruler, I'll connect these 2 points. Now that I've connected these 2 points, next step is I'm going to add a third point on this segment. Doesn't matter where I put it. I'll put it about there, and I'll call it G. I'm going to use my compass again, but this time I'm going to set the length equal to EG or FG, whichever is larger. In this case, EG is larger, so I'll change the measurement until it's equal to EG. And I'll center my compass on point E again, and add an arc that goes over the top of my segment, and another arc that goes over the bottom. I'm going to repeat this process for my other point F. Make that again. Now I'm going to add 2 more points where these arcs I just made intersect. So I'm up to EFG at a point H, and at a point I down here. Now I'll grab my ruler again and add a new line. This I'll make sure is a line, not just a segment, because I'm not sure how long it'll need to be. Make it nice and long, extend in each direction. And now I'm going to go back to the altitude that I made. Well, first actually I'm going to label this point that crosses the segment EF in my line HI, where those 2 lines intersect. I'll add a point right there, call it HIJ, is the letter I'm up to. So now this point J, it bisects the segment EF, it splits it in half, and we've created the line HI that's perpendicular to that line. I'm ready to use my altitude. I'm going to change my compass again, change its length to be equal to CD, my altitude. I'm going to create another arc over the top. I centered my compass at point J, that bisector. Now I'm going to see where that arc crosses the perpendicular bisector HI. Add my point there. This point I'll call K. And now I'm ready to connect EK. Make a segment. And then KF. And that's it. We made our isosceles triangle because EK and KF are the same length. Our altitude, we made sure was equal to the length of CD because of the way we constructed it. by centering J and K. There we have it. We used our base and altitude to construct an isosceles triangle. We could verify if we'd like to see that our two sides EK and KF have the same length. Let's see, it looks like EK is about 6.5 centimeters. KF is also about 6.5 centimeters. Thank you.